Welcome to Shaq's house. Shaq's house. That's our Shaq. You're now in Shaq's house. Shaq's house. Shaq. Welcome to Shaq's house. That's our Shaq.
Hey, what's up, Shaq Housers? How y'all doing? You thought I forgot about you? I know I've been going off course in the past few weeks, doing some things on Kang the Conqueror and whatnot. But we're here to get back on course with the usual power comparisons that I know y'all come to see and listen to. So, as somebody in the comments suggested, try something on the Darkforce mutants. Well, that's what I'm gonna give you all today. That's right. These mutants right here, all of them, they are Marvel's darkest mutants, but they're the brightest ones too. Or as a greater man than me once described them as.
Darknesses!
Because of my complexion, he used to call me Darkness. He calls me and my brother Darkness. He calls us Darkness Brothers. See, this is long before Wesley Snipes. Back then, we was the blackest niggas on the planet, according to Big Boy.
And it's both of them Brother Darkness. Twin Brother Darkness.
Each one of these mutants, they're linked because their powers tie them to the Darkforce Dimension. Why that is, we don't know. But what is the Darkforce? The Darkforce is an unknown form of extra-dimensional energy that manifests itself in our universe as a non-reflective, highly opaque black substance. Certain adepts use psychic, psionic, or magical means to draw this energy into our dimension and use it in various ways. Starting with Darkstar. Darkstar's mutant ability attunes her to the Darkforce Dimension. The substance that she produces is intense black extra-dimensional energy, and she manipulates it to her will. She's connected to it by means of her consciousness being divided between her physical body and a Darkforce representation of the same, the two of them being symbiotically linked. She can project Darkforce into simply mentally controlled forms such as pincers, rings, columns, spheres, and so forth. She can form objects with a density of steel. And these objects are solid and well-defined while she consciously wills them to be so. If she's rendered unconscious, they will dissipate. Darkstar can also project the Darkforce as a beam of solid force, capable of impacting an object with sufficient power to rupture a 3-inch solid high-carbon steel door or tip over an average loaded railroad boxcar, roughly 15 tons. Darkstar can also employ the Darkforce to teleport herself and up to 3 others. She does this in a manner similar to that of Cloak, by entering into the Darkforce's dimension of origin, traversing a distance which may or may not be the linear correspondent distance in this dimension, and re-emerging in Earth space. She has so far been able to travel a maximum distance of about 4 miles in this way. Because crossing through the interdimensional portal disorients her sense of direction, and the light of the Earth dimension blinds her for several seconds upon re-emergence, teleportation is risky for Darkstar. It also takes her several seconds to create a portal into the Darkforce Dimension in the first place, preventing her from teleporting out of the way of such high-velocity danger, such as a bullet. Darkstar can utilize the attractive force of the Darkforce Dimension to fly. By generating a virtually invisible portal into the dimension into the contour of her body, she balances its attractive force upon her against that of Earth's gravity, without passing through the portal. She can fly at speeds of up to 120 miles per hour and the maximum velocity at which she is able to still breathe. She can't support the weight of anyone other than herself while in flight, however. A few fun facts about her. She's part of a mutant KGB, and she was a member of the Champions of Los Angeles. And her teammate there, Bobby Drake, had a crush on her, but she proved to be too much of an icy blonde, even for Iceman, ironically. She's one of several mutants that were taken by the Russian government from birth and trained to be part of their super soldier program. She and her twin brother Vanguard are the children of the villain known as the Presence. Of the 3 in question in this video, she's not the most powerful, but she's got the most control. Doorman. Doorman's mutant power is that his body acts as a portal interfacing with the Darkforce Dimension. When active, his power causes anything that touches him to be displaced on contact and reappear on the other side of his body. This does not allow him to walk through walls, but it does make any solid attack or projectile incapable of harming him. By pressing his body up against a solid surface, Doorman can conduct his power's effect through the surface, transporting matter through his body and the surface he's touching to the other side of both of them. His power makes him a living door. By standing against the outer wall of a building, he can let other people walk through him to enter that building. The overall width of the wall or surface he's standing on or against doesn't seem to be a factor. He can use his power creatively, such as placing his hand over the helmet of an armored man so that he or one of his teammates can punch right through the helmet in an unprotected face. Doorman is also capable of flight to some degree, though apparently this is only a very slow gliding effect. The exact nature of his power remains unclear, and certain freak occurrences have caused teleportation or time travel effects when people enter his body when he's not standing against a wall. Having been chosen by Oblivion, the cosmic entity Oblivion, to be his emissary, Doorman now serves as the embodiment of death. Just like the previous servant of Oblivion, Death Urge, Doorman can ferry souls into the afterlife and even draw forth Darkforce energy constructs from his body. He usually draws out a set of skis, which he uses to fly, attaching them to his feet and propelling him through the air at least several hundred miles per hour. Here's a few facts about Doorman. He was part of the Great Lakes Avengers / Great Lakes X-Men, who were written as joke characters by John Byrne during his run on the Avengers West Coast. He's a black man named Damar, and his power is that he's a living doorman, which has all kinds of racial implications on its own. They say his power makes him a living doorman, and yeah, he's had a few nuggets of teleportation and time travel slip out, but that isn't true. His power is basically selective intangibility. Only he can't walk through walls or walk on air, making him a poor man's version of Kitty Pryde. And also, in regards to his status as Oblivion's emissary, as you can plainly see, he sucks at his job. Next! Darkling. Enrique Manuel Gallante is a mutant born with both fetal alcohol syndrome and an access to tap the Darkforce Dimension. He is able to funnel Darkforce through his body and transubstantiate his entire physical form into Darkforce as well. This Darkforce can be shaped according to his will, creating columns and spires to carry him into the air, protective barriers to deflect physical harm, animated strands to lift, manipulate, and constrict around solid objects. He has also demonstrated the power to increase his size and strength by wrapping multiple layers of Darkforce over his body, expanding his heightened mass to a Darkforce exobody. By casting a layer of Darkforce over a living being, he can manipulate them like a puppet and control their every physical action. This is accomplished most easily if the victim already has some darkness in them, meaning they're either a pre-existing Darkforce manipulator or a person experiencing a certain level of emotional torment on their own. By transporting himself or others into the Darkforce Dimension, he is able to teleport across miles of distance at a time. Anyone he pulls into the Darkforce can also be subjected to a drain on their inherent life energy or light, stimulating intense fear and panic for as long as they're enveloped in his darkness. He can also create Darkforce rifts in detached locations, causing Darkforce to enter our dimension through any existing patch of shadow or darkness. He once created a rift across the entire island of Manhattan, allowing Darkforce to exude out through every shadow across the entire city. After joining the group Psionics under the name Alias, Gallante began using his powers like the very first Asylum, wrapping others into the Darkforce in order to summon up their greatest fears and nightmares. Some fun facts about him. Darkling, or Asylum as he's now known, has one of the most powerful access taps of the Darkforce Dimension ever registered. During the 4-part New Warriors storyline back in the 90s, Forces of Darkness, Forces of Light, he was responsible for perhaps the biggest and best display of Darkforce manipulation. He was subconsciously tormenting the entire New York City area with Darkforce outbreaks, so any and every shadow from New York City to New Jersey was leaking aggressive Darkforce, while also controlling nearly a dozen other heroes and villains with Darkforce skin sheets, including overpowering the will and powers of most other Darkforce wielders in the Marvel Universe, including the Black Mamba, Cloak, the Vanisher, Ecstasy, Silhouette, and Quagmire. And his actions were all subconscious, mind you. He didn't even realize that he was responsible for the outbreak for the first 3 parts of the event. But it's sad, he was born into problems. He had fetal alcohol syndrome, meaning his mama drank while she carried him. She didn't give a fuck about him. And he grew up in an abusive home, which led to drug abuse and eventually depression, all of which were exacerbated when his mutant powers manifested. Now, if you think about it, he may have been Marvel's very first emo mutant. But like I said before, Darkstar, I'm sorry. Darkstar is the most skilled of the three, but Darkling, he's the most powerful. Doorman, well, Fredo, Fredo. That's all I have to say about that. Okay, Shackhousers, that's what I got for you this week. Next week, we're going to be talking about mutant force field wielders. Check it out then, and comment below about who you think I'm going to talk about. Have a good week, y'all. Later.
Mansion, apartment.
Shack house. Yes!
Yeah.